Welcome to the Vault, folks. It's Nick Cashone.
Julie Abel.
This week we're going to talk to a Emmy award-winning film producer who just recently won an award. His name's Tom Fox-Davies. We're going to share some stories about the show that he does, WQLN Chronicles.
Yep.
And we're going to also wear some sunglasses because it's International Sunglasses Day.
Oh.
And
I just got my eyes checked, and then I got
your
eyes are
pupils,
dilated.
your pupils are dilated?
I'm just kidding.
Glad.
I'm just kidding.
Today's episode available in Braille.
Right.
Stay tuned. We have some other surprises up our sleeve, and we'll see you soon, live in the Vault.
Bye.
Welcome to the Vault, folks. I'm Nick Cashone.
I'm Julie Abel.
We're here today with Tom Fox-Davies.
Hello.
And we're also here with his female friend here,
Emmy.
Right?
Yeah, front and center. This is where she is front and center. This is an exciting week for you, I hear.
Yeah. It's this is how many hours are we in? 72. A little bit more since this has arrived.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Tell us how
have
this
you
happened.
Slept yet since you won?
Actually, the night of the awards, we the team and I did go out and enjoy ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But then we were straight back into filming.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So we were filming all day yesterday. We have an episode that is just constant. Episodes constantly coming.
Absolutely.
So we'll sleep when the show is over.
Right.
In July 2025.
That's amazing. Yeah, you're in season 2 now. That's amazing.
So tell us. So what's the name of the show, and what did you win for?
Yeah. So I'm the series producer, along with Mike Berlin, who's the executive producer for WQLN's Chronicles, which is a series that looks at the history of the Erie region. Prominent figures, prominent events, things that have shaped our community and made the area what it is today.
Amazing.
So we're just wrapping up season 2. So we're, at the time of recording, we're now towards the end of June 2024. So we have a final episode, and then we're already building up for season 3, which we're hoping will be even bigger than the past 2 series we've made. But yeah, we made an episode in season 1 because the Emmys follow a year later in the cycle. And we made an episode about the importance of paying attention to local politics.
Very nice.
Oh, wow.
And how if you're not, it's all good and well to pay attention to the national news stories, the cycles, but if you want to have a meaningful impact on what happens in your day-to-day life, you have to look locally. You have to understand who your representatives are, what's going on just down the road from you. Those are the things that will have a more meaningful impact on your day-to-day, and it trickles up from there.
Well, I mean, it's quite an accolade to do something that is impactful, and you're looking at the historical and the human parts of our history. And what do you think while you're doing this, and you're showing Erie about, because we're so rich in history, especially during the Revolutionary War, as we were talking before, but what is something that surprised you about Erie history when you were learning and covering these stories?
I think the thing that was most surprising is because, especially against the kind of historical education that I had as an English person, the
you
school.
You didn't learn the same stuff about the American Revolution?
Well,
I bet you it's the same stuff you read about our Revolutionary War against England.
Here's the thing.
We're a bunch of tyrants, and
we're like how to get a tree sniper style.
No, my point is that there is a room in the school that I went through where there are carvings on the wall that will say like P. Simpkins was here 1743.
Wow.
Okay.
I mean, the school while I was there had its 450th anniversary.
That is so
in
cool.
its current form. So we have a different relationship with history, I think.
Right. You do.
But the thing that I found really sort of mind-blowing about exploring the history of this region is because it is more recent. Obviously, the city of Erie doesn't become incorporated until 1795. There is a far greater accessibility to the characters involved. We have, more accounts from themselves, from other people. When we look at, say, the build-up to, obviously, in this region, everyone knows about the War of 1812.
Yes.
But when you look at the surgeons' diaries and talking about the issues they face with disease spreading, and it's you see an account of their personal opinions and the ability to humanize all these characters.
How fascinating.
Wow.
Makes it really easy
They're
to
not
sort of
just
put
a
yourself
name in
there.
a textbook.
Right,
They're
yeah.
real. They're real people with the same problematic issues that we would have and the same concerns and the same hearts, really.
And then Erie is fascinating because it was so far removed from everything else, so inaccessible. It kind of existed in its own little bubble here, and so it was so much harder for it to become established.
Yeah.
So to read those personal journeys and really be able to get a sense of their characters and their personalities makes the exploration of Erie's history so much more interesting and fascinating than the history lessons I had at school.
Right.
Well, and that's true. And that's like, oh my goodness, like it would make such an impactful learning culture to hear the human side of it. And just, think about our youth who would love to be able to, connect with some of this history that is so huge in our country. Like, they can look at this and say, oh, that guy was really thinking about those things when he was making history in my book, that kind of thing. And that's amazing you could draw that out.
And some of the interesting facts, coming back to the War of 1812, because that is such a prominent story everyone knows here. And we did say in the series we were never going to cover the events of 1812, but we do an episode on Daniel Dobbins because the struggle he goes through to actually prepare the city for it. And everyone sort of has a vague idea of his name. Obviously, you got Dobbins Landing, you got Dobbins Way. There's a few sort of markers for him. But as much as he went through a fairly epic struggle to be able to build a fleet here, when we get to the events after 1812, he's initially denied any compensation because he wasn't there for the battle.
Okay.
He was sent on a supply run. So all these things where you go, okay, everyone sort of knows and celebrates the key event, but there's all this other stuff that happens around it. It doesn't just end there.
That's fascinating.
It's been really, really...
Tell us a little bit about the Dobbins. You were talking about some of the struggles that he had. What were some of the things that you explained, you unraveled on the show?
I mean, for those... So we have this episode, and it's now a long piece. Definitely worth a watch. And one of the interesting things about the making of that episode was that there are very few portraits of Daniel Dobbins, and then trying to visually tell the story of something happening, something that happened where there wasn't a huge amount of portraits being taken or people making landscape artwork. We visually told the story entirely through AI generated images.
No way.
Oh wow!
So for the most part, there's a few in there that aren't, but we had to lean in really hard to try and visually tell that story through that medium. But
how smart of you, because visualization and visualizing is the main way people learn, and things are impactful.
And it would have been very boring just to have a talking head
Right.
the camera for an hour.
But you, I'm going to backtrack just a little bit. The
Yeah.
Chronicles basically highlight the interesting human stories of our area, that are historically tied. So that's what you're doing, and how fascinating.
We have episodes on the likes of, say, Charlotte Elizabeth battles over in Girard. We have episodes on the first successful commercial oil well, and the whole story of Pit Hole, this city that booms then collapses all within 500 days. And just what that did to the area economically. We have stories on Strong Vincent, his father B.B. Vincent. We have upcoming episodes on actually what is down the pipeline. We're working on one for Harry Keller.
Okay.
And all the showmanship that he brought to the world of magic. So we don't look at one specific sort of area or type of person. It really is just an anthology of
Harry Keller. Did he come from here?
He was Erie,
He was in Erie.
Yeah.
Oh.
And don't they say he was kind of doing the Houdini stuff before Houdini? Isn't that?
Oh no,
he was the one who created that.
He is Houdini's mentor.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
no
really
way.
cool.
So
No way.
he flees Erie after he accidentally blew up the pharmacy that he was an apprentice at.
What? Oh my God.
Rather than go back to his parents and be like, my bad, I
My
did it.
bad. Hey, by the way, I'm going to be a magician now.
He hops on a train and just disappears and runs away.
I think that's what I find interesting about what you're doing, and it kind of ties into what we're doing. Is you're finding people in the history that did these things, and you're humanizing them. You're showing what they did, their human side of everything, and sharing stories that maybe people didn't know. And here we are. We're here with Tom Fox-Davies, and you come from England, you come from L.A., and here you are winning Emmys in the city of Erie. And now you're just as ingrained in Erie as anyone else at this point.
And we share a common goal.
We share that. We're pumping
Right.
up the city. We're trying to share good stories and things like that.
And we're also trying to show that people, and you're talking about this guy who became a magician, mindsets to do something that follow their passion, or even what shakes out that works best for them. I love that. And I think that whenever we get somebody on here, that's who they are. And you, in fact, which is kind of interesting and ironic that you're talking about the human stories of people who have succeeded and made a mark. And you have some human stories of how you have succeeded and made a mark. And you came over as a 20-year-old to America, which is pretty ballsy for a guy who just, he's an actor, he's young, and all of a sudden he's leaving England and coming over to LA. Like that's a big, giant leap. And speaking to that,
you could say it's balls. I mean, it could also just be seen as being very ignorant and naive.
Not at all.
To go to the airport and be like, "Oh, I'll get on a plane."
So,
but here's the thing: you moved, and it could have been ignorant, but you've made a story of yourself, and you've made a person of yourself.
Growing up in Erie, I have a question. Or growing up in England, I have a question for you. What was it like going to Hogwarts? Was Billy Idol really a rebel, and did he yell a lot?
I can't seem to get a real copy of Hysteria by Def Leppard.
Right.
Do you have one that I
I mean, you're from England, so I'm just wondering, do you have all this? Like, do you have all this information for me? I mean, because you're from England.
What's going on with Kate Middleton?
I've been asked not to tell. So that's where I went to school.
Can you send me a picture? Can you screenshot that and send it to me? No, I'll put it on the screen.
Yeah, you're gonna have to. Kidding. Just cut that part out.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about Hogwarts. I think they might have filmed
some of that
part of the Harry Potter franchise.
Okay, I was trying to make you laugh.
I was
trying to say that, like, because you're from England, I want to know, like, what Billy Idol.
No, we're all connected. I mean, and you joke about Kate Middleton.
But literally,
I did attend a charity event with her years ago.
See what I'm saying? This is real stuff. I mean, he went to Hogwarts. This is where he went to school.
But isn't this? I mean, really, we talk about humans and everyone being connected and sort of things like that. I mean, here we are. The world is, 8 billion people in the world and all these countries and everything. And here we are, we're sitting with this guy here, and he's like, yeah, I went to a charity event with Kate Middleton. I went to a school like Hogwarts. Julie, have you rubbed elbows with some famous people?
Oh my goodness, yes. My sister-in-law's brother-in-law is Reggie Fils-Aimé, who's running Nintendo North American Nintendo.
Possible future guest.
A while, he's now retired and he's moving back over to the East Coast. So I'm excited for my family to experience that. But honestly,
I ate free tacos with Kevin Bacon and Keira Sedgwick one time at a hotel. I mean, I was like in middle school. I know. So now you're 1 degree away, right?
Yeah.
6 degrees. So now, everyone's close. The next morning, someone noticed who it was. The next morning, only Keira came. He didn't come. He was shooting in like Cleveland area back in like 94 or 95 or whatever. But just mundane things, right? It's like you go to an event with Kate.
And my mother,
your brother's married to someone that's related to Reggie.
But this is even crazier. My mother's. So my grandfather came straight from Poland, right? And the whole Polish side came straight from Poland. He came and he was told, you don't speak Polish, you speak English, you come here and you acclimate. You become American. So he started to get into politics. He became a business person and he started to run as a Democrat Catholic, which is not easy to do back in that day. But he was very close friends with Eleanor Roosevelt. Mm-hmm. And I know it sounds crazy, but she would come to Erie just to hang out for a few days to a week with my family. And unfortunately, I don't have the pictures, but I have the articles of when he would come to visit. So we do. We all have that little separation of famous, big thinking people.
Well, the other thing coming back to Erie is especially once the train lines come in, the number of people who did come to Erie as a place to sort of come in summer. And enjoy Prescott, and this was a place of beauty. So it's a bit I think one of the biggest struggles we've had is trying to combat this sense that we see from the community here that Erie has nothing to offer, that it's the mistake
ding,
on
ding,
the
ding,
lake,
that's
dreary
what we're
Erie.
here. Yes, yes.
And
we talk about that all the time.
Thank you.
The number of times I get asked, because they pick up the accent, they say, "Why are you here?"
Yes.
To which I want to reply with, "Where am I supposed to be? Where is
They
it that
say,
you feel
"Why
I
are
should-
you here?"
Why are you here?"
I'm going to kick out your tires.
Well,
friend.
especially when they find out that I spent close to a decade in California and in Los Angeles, like, why would you leave LA to come to here?
Yeah.
And having to highlight that the cost of housing out there is through the roof.
Absolutely.
You can't get anywhere in less than 3 hours.
Mhm.
So the idea, and for what I do, I travel so much in my line of work. That it was kind of silly that one of the first jobs I had when I did start freelancing here in Erie was to send me back to the West Coast and film something just south of San Francisco.
Look at yourself.
Yeah, there are lots more people over there that do this.
Cool.
And it is a very privileged job that I do. I get to travel around the world. I only just made it out of Paris just before they shut down all the airlines
Wow.
ahead of COVID.
Wow.
And it wouldn't have been the worst thing to have been
Sure.
stuck in
Right.
history.
Stuck in Paris for 3 months
Sure.
or whatever, right?
But
How is their French onion soup? I'm just kidding.
but yeah,
Do they all have French bobs there? Oh, ladies.
But yeah, to come across to Erie and be met with this sense of why would anyone want to be here? And sure, that the winters are harsh, but we have undeniably beautiful summers.
Oh,
absolutely.
And there's no question that the city has suffered from decades of economic sort of downfall. But this used to be such a sort of prominent destination, and we still see it now with people traveling from all across the country to come and enjoy summer, long weekends. And
Absolutely.
so to hear people question why anyone would want to come to Erie just makes me think you're not paying attention.
You're not looking.
You're not looking at what's around you.
I've found the same
agree.
thing. Anytime I go out of town, when someone says, "Where are you from?" and you say Erie, PA. We always say the PA, right? It's not quite Chicago or LA or whatever, but you say Erie, PA. Almost always people know Erie, PA.
Yeah.
If you were to say you're from Sheboygan, Wisconsin, which is a
Sheboygan,
similar city,
You've been dying to put that in conversation at some point in our podcast.
Wasn't Sheboygan where the people in Home Alone, where John Candy's polka band is from? Weren't they from
I don't know. I didn't pay attention to that part.
But yeah, if you were to say you're from Sheboygan, Wisconsin, people would go like, "Oh, I've been there," or "I used to vacation there." Some people might.
Well,
But you go to Toronto, which is a major city in 3.5 hours from here, in traffic maybe 5 or 6. But I go there. I went there last summer. This guy said we would always pack the station wagon. We'd go through there on our way to Florida on vacation. He goes, there used to be this Nike outlet we'd stop at, and we'd stop for dinner, and we'd go to this hotel. Or another person, I ran into a person at an amusement park. I go, we know Waldameer. We go to Waldameer Park every year if we can. We go to the beach. People come shop here because we don't tax on clothes. And it's really sort of a gateway from people north and east of us to the west and the south, really, because we have I-90, we have I-79.
What's weirder yet?
So
what's weirder yet in the 90s, I went down to Disney World, and I was sitting there waiting out one of their flash rainstorms they always get around 4 and 5 o'clock, and I could hear somebody about 3 people back that spoke I just recognized their speech, accent. And I had to. I turned around and I said, "Can I ask, are you from Erie, PA?" And she's like, "How do you know? Are you following me?" But she was from just a little south of here.
Right.
But yeah, you could hear it in the way that we talk.
Even the accent. We're on an island with our accent here in Erie. We don't have the Midwest shift, that they do in upstate New York and the Midwest.
Sometimes you do.
Every once in a while, I
Sometimes
say cat.
Cat.
or
keep your cats
we don't have
inside.
the Canadian accent, which is just above us. We don't have the Pittsburgh accent.
No.
We don't have the Delco accent from over in Philly. So Erie sort of found its way on its own, really, and that's sort of what it. And we are kind of who we are, and it's just
And I think we have to recognize that obviously we do have broken up sidewalk and there are weeds growing
Yes.
places there shouldn't be.
It's
And
true.
there is a
Yes.
lot of work to be done.
There is.
But for that work to be expedited, people need to realize that there is a lot here to take pride in.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's only by having pride in where you live that anyone's going to bother to sort of go, well, actually, yeah, let's weed whack that section and let's really champion
It takes a guy. It takes a guy who's been everywhere, like you. It takes a guy who's been everywhere, comes way over here from the West Coast. After he comes way over here from England, to say that we should have some pride in our city. I love that. I really love it what you're doing for this community. I really do. I think it's amazing. So
people sometimes they think someone's from out of town. Like say if someone runs for like mayor or something like that. You got to vote for the person that's homegrown. Sometimes you want someone who has experience elsewhere, who experience it. We talk about local politics,
right?
And things like that.
Well, especially, and very kind of you to have made that comment. Obviously, it's not. I can't take the credit for the show. We have a small team for the show that we're making. We have an impossibly small team, and they all work incredibly hard, and everyone sort of shares that level of passion. But I mean, my producing partner, Mike Berlin, he is homegrown, but spent many years in New York. And has been in LA and been in London, traveled a lot as well. And we both sort of joke about the fact that people look at these far off destinations and go, oh, life would be better if I lived there.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
But, Paris, none of the buildings have proper elevators. So you get tired and hot and sweaty carrying everything out. There's no air conditioning.
Wow.
Hollywood Boulevard just smells of urine 24/7.
Right.
London is just this kind of grey fog the whole time. You pick out anywhere in the world and I will find a reason why it's not as great as you think it is.
Interesting.
And you try and tell me why Erie is terrible and I will give you reasons to counter that.
That's awesome.
It doesn't matter what we look at. Everywhere has its pros and cons, wins and losses.
Don't be surprised if you don't get invited to all these different classrooms, these historical, like these history teachers that are going to see this and think, I need him to come speak for my class.
No, absolutely.
You're going to get
really
the invites. You'll see.
It really is cool.
Yeah.
So you came here originally from England to try to get into acting?
I
you
started
dabbled in some childhood acting, you said?
I was quite sort of big in the childhood acting.
So Daniel Radcliffe, you were like.
You keep queuing up these things, and I'm just not even going to take the.
You're not going to take the bait anymore. Like you're looking at me like all serious, like
there are videos
why
of you
does she
just
keep
like,
doing this? Why does she keep doing this? Like, did they size
are there
you?
videos of you out there somewhere?
There are somewhere, yeah.
Did they size you for a cloak?
The National Youth Music Theatre is very.
She's a
prominent.
big Harry Potter person. If you can.
Well, the thing is, it pumps out a lot of prominent people. So there are lots of people who were in the cast that I were in who have gone on to mega stardom.
So who are some of your classmates? Do you want to share?
The mega stars.
We've got the likes of Ben Barnes, who went on to play Prince Caspian and is in the Thingy and Bones
Get
Netflix
out of
series.
here.
Okay. And back when I was living in LA, we quite often drink at the same place. It's just weird seeing someone that you've known for that many years just across the bar and be like,
what's your poison of choice? Now I'm being serious now at this point. Like, what if you were going to be at a bar in Erie, where would you? We can say where would you go to get something to drink, and what would you drink?
You know the really sad truth to this show. It is such a big show to make, and there aren't enough of us to make it.
So you just don't have much
you don't have time.
And I've got 2 small children as well.
Oh yes, you're a family. Oh my goodness.
It's not uncommon for us to spend several days straight in the office. We actually have
so drinking is just going to make you fall asleep.
We still have the occasional drink.
Maybe at the office.
In the office, where Mike and I will sit down and just pour a whiskey and just go, okay, let's regroup on where we're at with this particular episode.
A good bottle of bourbon over in my office right now.
I do think one of the biggest losses to the area was when the Crooked Eye departed. That used to be one of my favourite spots. Just going, so they used to book some amazing music that came through. Yeah. And I do think that is one area which I'm waiting to see rejuvenated. The getting another great music spot. There's some outlets. There's some venues that are doing some good work there.
What's your favorite local food?
Ooh.
Do you have any?
Well, the problem for me.
You come from England,
I mean,
shouldn't be too hard.
Do we do fish and chips? I mean,
yeah. What's your favorite fish and chips in Erie? Have you had one here that you Think
If
it's
I
okay?
said no, then all of my colleagues would be screaming
Just
because
don't
it's
say
become
it.
a running
He's
joke.
setting
But
you
if you
up.
said yes,
Um,
anyone that you know in England is going to disown you.
Oh no! I mean,
Setting you up, my
that is a
friend.
staple.
Setting you up.
There is a place recently I went to that did offer the worst fish and chips I've ever had.
Oh,
But no, in terms of,
We don't have to
of
share that one.
Yeah.
a local thing,
what's your favorite?
one of my boys, well actually both my boys, are at Harding Elementary,
Okay.
and the problem is when we leave there, if it's a nice summer's day and we're walking, it takes us right past Romelo's.
Oh.
And for a while,
Romelo's,
we were
yes.
able to hide what went on behind those
The
large
cloak,
glass windows.
right?
Yes.
Now the cat's out of the bag.
And they love it.
And the problem is, I've got a sweet tooth, so anytime there's a sense of, hey, Daddy, can we get in there?
No
Like,
problem.
Absolutely.
I'm
You're
just
like,
yeah,
do
sure.
I have to again?
Take my money. I work in public television, so other ice cream and chocolate brands are available.
Yes, they are. And they're,
Yes,
they're
public,
good
yes.
too. They're good, sort of too.
So just for fun here, I want to put you on the spot briefly. So
Like
so
we
you
haven't
did-
already.
I know we put you on. So you did go acting school a little bit, and you're from England. You know, clearly you don't speak like you're from Erie. You know, because you have your natural. Do your best Erie accent.
Yeah, I want to hear you.
Oh,
Oh, that's perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
I used to be able to do a really solid American accent to the point where we were rehearsing for a film. I was finishing up on one project, so I literally arrived at the table read straight from a day of filming, and so we jumped straight into it.
Yeah.
And one of the other actors, when we stopped the read through and I reverted back to my normal accent,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
this other actress just said in her thick California West Coast vibe,
Yes.
just went, honey, I don't know what it is you're trying to do, but you need to stop that.
Oh.
And the director had to go, no, that's actually how he talks. That's his normal voice.
Right.
Oh, wow.
But I then became quite paranoid about
Oh.
potentially losing my English accent.
Oh, no.
I don't know if it's like a subconscious
There's
thing,
something going on.
but now the American accent has completely left me.
Interesting.
Oh, really?
Interesting.
And so, it's the weirdest thing. It's one of the things that if I was ever to make a return to acting, I know one of the hardest challenges I'd have is to retrain myself, because it's all the positioning in the mouth.
It is. That's
You
all
guys
it is,
talk from
right.
the back of the mouth, and it's
Yes.
all big and bold and open,
Yes.
and the British are much more sort of conservative in the corner, going, "Hello, sorry,
Yeah.
my
Right,
nose."
right.
So can you do like a
Can you
southern
do, like,
accent,
just a
like a
little-
yellow?
how about, yeah,
like
southern-
can you do
Karen
like
can do
down?
a southern
I am not
Hey,
going to give you that win. No, accents has been so many years, and it is weird how those muscles will sort of weaken. I mean, when I first got out to LA and I was booking jobs, and the big auditions always came right after I'd booked a flight to go back home and visit friends and family,
Interesting.
and it became a running joke. So I might have just clicked purchase, British Airways, bang, tickets are sorted, and then my manager would call me saying, "Are you around next Tuesday?" I'm like, "No, why?" "Oh, I've got an audition for Pirates of the Caribbean." I'm like, "What?" It's non-cancelable flights. It was uncanny.
So it always happened, no matter what. The
Always
gods were
happened.
watching.
But I was having to do all these accents so frequently, and
Yes.
you get so comfortable with it, and you don't have any inhibitions. And then having not done that, I then moved more and more into producing.
Yeah.
Because as a producer, no one cares what I look like. No one cares.
Right.
my
I
hair
love
colour.
that. Okay, I need to say something. This is really cool that you're giving a nod to the way the human mind works. Okay, I
Absolutely.
gotta throw this in. I am a hypnotherapist, and honestly, our subconscious is so in charge. Like it's so you really do have to have a certain mindset, how you speak, how you portray, how you emote. And so when we're dealing with, I never even thought of it like this. This is so interesting that you're explaining this to me, because you do have to really put yourself in a mindset of being somebody different to speak a certain way.
Mhm.
And then how do you like now you're actually concentrating on it. Now it's brought to the consciousness, and now you're walking around trying to negotiate the accent and negotiate how you normally
Sure.
speak. I could see where that could get not easy.
And it
for
is,
sure.
they people joke about actors being, overly emotional and what have you. But I mean, you're constantly playing with your own emotions.
Yes.
I think it's quite easy
Basically
for people
being
to
a
get.
different person for a
Most
good chunk of
most
time,
things,
right?
if you want to quit something, if you want to quit a habit, or you want to quit something that is like something that is not that is detrimental to you, there is some emotional tie to it.
Right.
And so, being an actor, you almost have to place emotion into what you're doing so that you can feel it and be believable.
Well, I think one of the standout moments I had experiencing that was back when I was doing a play again with the National Youth Music Theatre. We're doing a play called The Ragged Child, which done as a big production. You've got members of the royal household in attendance. It was this big to do, and the story is tragic.
Mm-hmm.
It's about these sort of street urchins in the 1800s, and Lord Shaftesbury. Some of these are pulled from real life events. He created something called the Bootblack Brigade, where homeless kids could go out and shine shoes and make a bit of money, and then use some of that money to pay for an education.
Mm-hmm.
But we're also in the area of penal colonies in Australia, and so you've got this kid who has been arrested for stealing a loaf of bread to try and feed his sister because his parents have died. And he eventually gets a scholarship to go and join one of the colonies, but he gets recognized by the dock customs officer and gets sent to a penal colony at the end. And in the whole build up to this, he's got highs and lows. His sister, who he's doing everything for, ends up succumbing to cholera, which is rife during that period.
Horrible.
And I was, I think, 12 years old when we did this production. And it's heartbreaking and it's an emotional thing. And that whole thing of loss of family and then loss of direction. So at the end of the play, and then we were having a bit of a wrap party, but all of my family have arrived. And I went out to go to the car park to go and try and find them, but they had left.
Okay.
And suddenly at 12 years old, I've got this real life sense of loss of family.
Wow.
I fell on the floor in the car park, I'm sobbing. And it was just that whole thing of like, I had to process all these emotions are big feelings, especially for 12-year-olds. And then any sort of reminder of that in a real life thing, especially when it was only 15 minutes after we just done the curtain call.
Is there a name for that for you? Like, is in the acting world, there must
exhausting. That's because it is. I mean,
is there a spell for that at Hogwarts?
I had an experience. Not exactly the same. I was watching. There was that movie that came out on was it Netflix recently, where it was kind of about like the end times. There was one where the big boat like hit the shore and everything shut down, the internet and stuff like that. I forget what the name of it was, but the power was out, the internet was out, and it was and that's kind of the horror film these days that they put out there because that's what scares us. You know, it used to be the Russians back.
Godzilla. I'm not sure what anyone was thinking during Godzilla. Like, was that the nuclear stuff?
Then it was like a terrorist thing. Now it's like network outages. But,
possession by the devil.
But it was like basically like a major blackout, and I turned off the film. It was like a Saturday morning. My wife and my daughter had gone somewhere. My son was in his room, and I was like, I'm just going to finish the film, and I turned it off, and not like 2 minutes after that, the power went off.
Get out of here! Get out of here!
So
your mom is, or no, your wife is. Your wife is in the basement.
I go on to my phone to then like see what's going on, whatever. Because then you go on your phone, you're like, is there a power outage, whatever? The internet wasn't.
Get out of here, Nana.
And I was like,
what?
In those like probably
2 seconds of
2 minutes or whatever, I was like, did this just like manifest itself into real life? Yeah. And it was like I was in a downward spiral. I was like, how are we going to live without phones? How are we going to live without the internet? How are we going to and literally it just so I think when you're in a headspace, let alone being in a place, something like that, something happens that's similar to that. You're already there in your mind. So it's just
I still experience an element of this working on this show, and we're exploring people's stories, and especially when so many of the historical figures, and Erie was a frontier town, it's isolated, it's cut off, we don't have they didn't have access to medicine the way we did. And so the frequency with which these people who are going about trying to achieve great things are dealing with the heartbreak and loss of infant death.
Yeah.
And when you are at home with small children, you're writing out the script, and then you look up and your 4-year-old goes running around just thinking, this person didn't get to have this moment because
That's crazy.
their child passed away before the age of 2, and then something else happened, and just it's interesting exploring that side of history and giving you a far greater appreciation for the world that we get to live in here in here and now.
Correct. That's amazing. That's
really
amazing insight. That would be. You should write a book.
Yeah,
Just saying,
yeah.
just from your experience.
I'm writing a whole series.
At least do a TV show, right?
Fair point. Fair point.
Tell people when and where they can find the show.
Yeah, so Chronicles airs on WQL and PBS at 8 p.m. on Thursdays. We have episodes get repeated when we don't have fresher content to play. But for anyone just looking to stream and just binge watch the whole thing, it's all up on YouTube. Part of the relationship that we have with the supporters and the underwriters of this piece of programming is that we wanted to make this available to the public,
accessible,
fantastic,
and not have it be behind a paywall. There's some PBS content that does, you have to be a member, which I highly recommend anyone to do. If you're not a member of PBS, minimum is like $5 a month, and it gets you access to all kinds of things.
I remember when I was a child, they would sell the subscriptions, like you'd go watch Sesame Street, and they'd come on. And
and especially when the likes of the other thing that I hadn't appreciated before joining the PBS family is just how WQLN is so invested in trying to create educational opportunities through school outreach, through reading and writing and art programs, and so much more beyond just being an NPR station and a PBS station. And so, with the likes of Chronicles, it's there, freely available. It's all up on YouTube. If you go to WQLNchronicles.com, it's a hyperlink that takes you to our YouTube body of work.
Nice.
You can stream all of season 1. I think we've got all of season 2 will be up there, and it just sits there as a library of content on Erie and the region's history.
That's
so
amazing.
You're going to go for a repeat next year? Emmy again?
We are hoping to, because the other thing that's really crazy is when we started, it was Mike and myself, and that was it.
Wow.
And we didn't have any lights, we didn't have any cameras, and so
definitely
we had to
action.
Yeah,
right.
We had to build everything out, and now we're at a team. There's 9 of us, and the team.
And you're killing it.
And ourselves in the process. But I mean, when you think about how we're making a half hour of content on average in less than 3 weeks.
I can teach you all how to go to the peninsula and ground and just put your feet in there and just meditate and visualize. I can do that for you.
We'll all be doing that as soon as we
get
some time
just
off.
So you know, Emmys and Grammys, this is our episode that we're running for the awards season next year. We'll pick another one too. But thank you so much for coming in. We really appreciate you. Maybe we'll bring you next one. We'll bring it back when you have a little more time, maybe next season or whatever.
Bring some more of these.
Bring some more hardware.
The episodes are getting stronger and stronger as the team gets stronger. So hopefully we'll add.
Very cool. That's to be
Congratulations
proud of.
again.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We'd love to have you. Stay tuned. Welcome back into the vault, folks. We got to get our sunglasses back on. Tom wanted to look at us straight in the eyes. He thought it was kind of weird. Not looking at our eyeballs.
Yeah.
So
I don't blame him.
But we have to celebrate.
That's really not what happened. Tom didn't
celebrate our holidays the right way.
Yeah.
Tom didn't say that.
He didn't say that.
British people don't like sunglasses.
Why would you say that?
It's really bright there.
It's really bright in the vault, is what it is.
Bright in the vault.
This is why we're wearing them, is because it's so bright in this vault.
Julie had a eye exam earlier.
Yeah. Oh wait. So we also have.
So today is also another day, right, Julie?
Yeah.
What do you have there in 153?
In 150 in box 153, lockbox 153, we've got ourselves some bomb pops. And
wow. Look at that.
I just used
Where'd
to
you
call
find
them,
those?
I just in box 153, Nick.
They just like create themselves in the box. Does the box just work that way?
It is a magic box.
It's just a magic box. It's really cool.
And look, you had to tell me you had to remind me. You said it's Bomb Pop, National Bomb Pop
Week. Yeah.
And I'm like,
what'd you call it?
I used to call them like red, white, and blue popsicles. Like, do we?
I don't know. We're learning a lot about these holidays.
Here you go. I'll help you out.
I can.
Right.
You know how we talk about people like monk. I don't want someone else touching my stick. All right. Anyway.
That's fair. I wouldn't either. But I didn't know that this is.
Blue. Yeah, bomb.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I know. I think I've heard
Why
other.
would there be a national day for this? Like
I
what?
don't know. And why
Like
wouldn't it be like 4th of July or Flag Day or something like
why
that?
not?
Just
I mean,
June,
honestly,
just June 27th.
just June 27th.
Here
You
we are.
know,
And when we record on June 26th and it's raining and we have our
I
sunglasses
think that
on.
we should celebrate. I think that we should celebrate all of the things that today is supposed to be, like the sunglasses, the bomb pop,
All
like
the things?
like the ugly dog day. I mean, you know what I mean? Like if you had
have
it
your phone?
all together.
You have your phone with you?
I don't. No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to
No,
do.
I was
Look,
gonna say look up all the days that it is. We should each week of the episode we should celebrate every day for that week.
you do this.
We
You do
find
this
the
the whole
best.
day. We walk into work and you do
We
that.
just do a day.
They call
of,
you out and they say you can't do that here, and you go, I'm celebrating a special
I'm
day.
celebrating a holiday.
Especially, yes, this is a holiday. These are quite nice. They're not like a typical popsicle. They taste more like an Italian ice, don't they? Like
Yes,
a little smoother.
They actually
smoother.
are. Yeah, I like
I'm a
that.
fan.
This is
I
a
forgot
good. It's the original. So these are the
You know what?
original bomb pops.
Legit. That's right there.
So if you wanna like our channel,
Mhm.
we'll give you this
Oh,
box of bomb
yeah.
pops.
Mhm.
This box. And we don't have a freezer here.
I do.
Oh, you do?
In my office.
For those who are so inclined
Mhm.
that are watching today's episode,
Yeah.
comment below and tell us what your favorite summer dessert is.
We look like we're about to rob this vault.
We got robbed this bomb.
I've got a bomb.
Well, you told
A
me
bomb
before
pop.
about the heist, remember?
I've got a bomb pop.
I have a
No,
bomb pop and I have sunglasses.
But finish that thought. I like that idea. Come over here. Get.
Come here. Comment under either one of our socials, either Facebook, Instagram,
Yep.
right on YouTube. Comment under there. We'll pick a winner if you do comment. If
And
it's
look,
just one, you win.
Look, what else can we do? I could give you 20% off of a hypnotherapy appointment. I can also do a free CMA on your house, which is a comparative market analysis.
I can give you a free mortgage. No.
The hell?
I cannot.
No.
Give you a
Why
free
would you
mortgage.
say that?
I know.
You're fired. But today we have our sunglasses and bombs in this vault.
Gangster
Gangster style.
Like the Unabomber. What if the Unabomber just like walked around with like a popsicle? We talked about how like historical characters with Tom, like how they lived real lives. So like the Unabomber would just say, like he ate pizza like the rest of us, and and ate bomb pops when it was hot outside.
Literally, this is I just didn't realize that you'd be setting us up. This is very funny, actually. I didn't think about this. It's not that our British friend asked us to not wear sunglasses. It's more like we want to look like we're going to rob the vault with our sunglasses.
There's thunder. There's thunder outside, folks. There's thunder.
What's going on?
No. So, funny thing about I put up Tom. I asked him about accents and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So Tom declined, and I respect that.
No,
he
I have
wanted
a huge
he
props
wants
for
to
that.
stick with his accent. He wants to be his authentic self, which I totally get.
I
wish I could be half that dedicated to my own accent.
No. I wish
me, my voice changes all the time.
Oh, my tongue's really like abnormally red.
I went up to Massachusetts last week. As soon as I got there, ours dropped.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, kids made fun of me. I'm like, we're going to the car. We're gonna go.
Get out of here.
Yeah,
no.
It came out.
I love the white flavor as opposed to the cherry flavor.
Lime. I think it's cherry, lime, blue, raspberry.
Yeah, no.
Which let me see
the tongue though. Seriously, yeah. That's not attractive. Sorry.
I have a Gene Simmons like tongue. It's very long.
Can you touch your nose with your tongue? So can
I?
I
Can
don't
you
know.
too?
I didn't know anyone else can do that. Generally, I have a feeling that we're both like alien species at this point. Like we come from
we look like aliens right now.
All right, I gotta go for real.
Thanks for sticking around this long.
Thank you.
Tom was an amazing guest. Really doing some good work for the city of Erie out there.
Yep.
And a really good film director and producer, whatever. I've even watched some of his other films that he's done. Check him out on IMDb. I'm sure there's a list of other projects that he's worked on in the past. And really, really cool dude. I'd worked with him in the past. And one of the things I like about doing my job is just meeting people. You know, I
Mhm.
meet all walks of life. I meet all
For
sorts
real.
of people,
Mhm.
and you learn about what people are doing in the city, and what they've done to help, and all that stuff. And it's really cool. So he's one of those people that I've met, and
Yep.
I happened to reach out to him. I didn't even know he had been nominated for an Emmy, so I wasn't like trying to, like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm going to get an Emmy Award
Yeah.
winner. I
Yeah.
was like, I just want to get a guy. He
Well, we
does a
were
really cool
brainstorming,
job.
yeah, because my son Jax works at WGET Fox, and he is a filmographer, and we were talking about like who else can we get to like help us with some of these amateur things that we're doing,
Yeah.
and then I think that's where you're like, who
Maybe
do
we're
I
thinking
know?
about film stuff.
Yeah, and then you're like, hey, I know who could
That's
get out of the
awesome.
show.
And he was gracious enough to come
That's
on
cool.
in his busy schedule.
Mhm.
I mean, he's in the middle of doing press from Winning,
You
and then he's
retired.
also doing a
Mhm.
he's filming the last of the episodes for this season,
Yep.
and then he told me he's leaving Erie for a couple weeks, and then
Wow.
when he comes back, he's going to start recording season 3. So
Mhm.
so we got him literally on like one of the days he had any availability.
I'm gonna
So
get a brain freeze.
so
We
it's
gotta
really
go.
okay. But anyway, thanks for tuning in this week with us. Thanks as always. Episode number 9. This is really, really cool. Thanks for coming on board with us. We do have eyeballs today,
Mhm.
as you can see, and we will see you next week.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye.